Hey guys, this is Kimrin here with the Money Freedom Movement podcast. Welcome to the show. You know somebody is truly an expert in their field when they can take a complex subject and break it down into understandable pieces. And I recently got to talk to a resident expert on reverse mortgages. I truly did not understand the product before, and as has been said by many folks before, we tend to dislike things that we simply don't understand. And that was definitely my position before talking with Genie McGee from Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. She broke down what reverse mortgages are, how they can be helpful to folks who are in retirement for a variety of things, such as paying off your home so that you can retire, long-term care, allowing an elder to stay in place and not having to move into a facility in retirement, and even purchasing a home in some circumstances. And don't think just because all those things were related to retirement that younger folks don't have a reason to listen to the show. In fact, learning about reverse mortgages could down the road serve you in serving your parents or grandparents should they find themselves in a situation where they need to access the equity in their homes and properties. So please enjoy my interview with Genie McGee after, of course, some intro music. All right. Well, we're rolling, so let's do it. Genie McGee, welcome to the Money Freedom Movement podcast. It's so good to have you today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. So, Genie, we're going to talk about reverse mortgages today, and I wanted to have you on because reverse mortgages it's just one of those things. I'm sure you hear this a lot. It's one of those things where I know it exists. I don't quite understand how it works, and therefore I don't really teach about it or tend to recommend it to folks. And so I would, for myself, just completely selfishly, would like to understand this product more and who it could benefit. And, I want you to bring that education to the rest of the folks out here as well. So thank you for spending the time to be here today.
It's the only thing I do, and I don't know a lot about a lot, but I know a lot about reverse mortgages.
That is important, to know a lot about the thing you do.
Yep.
Yes. So just give us a quick introduction. Who are you? Obviously, we're talking about reverse mortgages. How long have you been in the business? Give us your background.
Yes. Genie McGee, originally from Missouri.
What part?
St. Joseph, Missouri, about 50 miles north of Kansas City.
Okay.
And I moved here from Wisconsin about 32 years ago. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't born and raised in Atlanta, but I've been here for a long time, and I've raised kids here.
Yes.
And I love it here, obviously.
Yes.
I actually have a degree in design. So I'm a designer and an artist by background, and I still am creative and still do that kind of work. But I fell into doing the reverse mortgage 18 years ago. Long story short, met somebody when I was in Kenya, East Africa, became friends with him. We went to visit him in Philadelphia. He was doing the reverse mortgage. I was a stay-at-home mom at that time. My husband looks at me and says, "You'd be good at that." That was his way of saying it's time to go back to work. I did some research. Yeah, exactly. And I did some research and started doing it and was successful and was helping people, changing people's lives. I loved it. 18 years later.
Here you are.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful.
Yep.
Okay, so let's jump in.
Okay.
Tell me,
yes.
help me understand, what is a reverse mortgage? Just give us a kind of a bird's eye overview of the product.
Down and dirty.
Yeah.
Reverse mortgages are an FHA loan. Okay. They've been around for over 30 years. Signed into law back in 1988 by President Reagan. So they've been around for a while, right? Mm-hmm. They're specifically designed for folks who are 62 years of age or older. Mm-hmm. The whole premise is that at 62 or 72 or 82, you have a home. Usually that home is paid off or you have significant equity in it. Mm-hmm. Paid off or almost paid off,
yes.
Right, at that age. But it's equity. Equity is great to have. It allows you to sleep well at night and brag that your home is paid off, but you cannot spend equity.
Right.
It doesn't do you any good. You're sitting on it, you're standing on it, you're living in it, but it's not doing you any good. The reverse mortgage allows you to pull out some of that equity to use for a variety of things. When you pull it out, it's tax-free because it's not income, it's equity. And you can use that, and you don't have to service that debt. So there's no monthly mortgage payment due on that loan until you die, move out, or sell the home.
Okay. What kinds of, you said 62 and older, what are the reasons that somebody would want to, what are the reasons you commonly find for people wanting to pull that equity out into spendable money?
Lots of strategies that people are using it. We call it the Swiss Army knife product because lots of people have equity in their home. And after the downturn in the economy in 2008, equity, the amount of equity has just skyrocketed, especially in people who are older.
Of course.
So they have all this equity. 40% of folks 62 or older are still making a mortgage payment. Still making a mortgage payment. So a lot of people use it to pay off their mortgage so they can retire. Okay. The other thing that we're seeing, people are living longer.
Right.
My oldest client is 99.
That's amazing.
Right.
Which is such a blessing. But
you need money.
That could be a problem.
Could be a problem. The longer you live, the more money you need.
Yes.
And so people are using it for long-term care. So only 5% of us have long-term care insurance.
Which is a problem because a lot more people will end up needing long-term care in the long run. So, yeah.
They're projecting 77% of us will need long-term care just because we're living longer.
Wow.
So a lot of people use it to pay for long-term care. And people want to live in their homes. They want to age in place.
Yes.
Right? So they can pull out equity, live in their home, have people come into their home to help them with their activities of daily living and other things.
That is so interesting.
Yep.
And I can see more clearly because, I mean, you don't know what you don't know, and most of us tend to be afraid of what we don't know.
Right.
And so reverse mortgages, in my mind, we're just like, oh, it's just this big scammy thing. There's no way that, like, again, she's giving me this face like, yeah, I've heard that one before. So, yeah, I mean, so I appreciate the education on this because I see how that can be valuable, especially to somebody, in a situation where they have money, it's just tied up in their property. They can care for themselves, but it's tied up in illiquid assets.
Correct. And what's so interesting, I do hear that a lot. And what I usually say is that you've been listening to the street committee. Right? So the street committee of these people who say, oh, I wouldn't do that. That's not good. But they can't tell you why. And honestly, this is a FHA product, a government product administered by HUD. Been around for many years. And like anything, what you don't know can hurt you. Right.
That's so cool. What other problems do you see reverse mortgages solving in people's financial pictures? We talked about long-term care, paying off your mortgage. That's interesting. So somebody can pull out the equity in their home, pay off the loan to the mortgage company, and then you said earlier that you don't have to service that loan right away. So it allows somebody to retire.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Got it. Because you've just relieved yourself of usually your largest monthly expense.
Correct.
Okay. Tell us about, first of all, let me let you answer the first question. So paying off a mortgage, long-term care, just throw out some other things that you see people using reverse mortgages for.
So this will blow your mind because it hasn't been around but about 12 years. But you can buy a house using a reverse mortgage.
How does that work?
Yes. So the kind of house that you want and need at 65 or 75 is different than the kind of house you need when you're 30 or 35.
Sure.
Right? So often you're in that same house that you bought when you were raising a family. You need lots of bedrooms, lots of bathrooms, often a 2-story, a basement, a big yard. If you're still in that house with all that equity, you may want to sell that house and get into something that doesn't have steps.
Yes.
Because you don't want to negotiate steps when you're 75.
Right.
You can sell that house, and let's say you only net $200,000 after you pay off any mortgages and the realtor fees.
Okay.
Maybe you can't get the house you really want for $200,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can use that $200,000 as a one-time down payment on a house that you buy or build. We do a reverse mortgage at the time you're buying and building it, and you're able to afford a $400,000 house.
Mm-hmm.
You use that equity that you netted from the sale as a one-time down payment. You're able to buy a new house and not have a mortgage payment.
Wow.
Yep.
Very cool. Been
Yes.
around for 12 years.
The ability to buy has been around since 2008.
Very cool.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
What are some misconceptions that you commonly have to work through about reverse mortgages, and how do you answer those objections?
Okay. One of the biggest ones is that you will lose your house.
Okay.
That the bank owns the house, and that they will take it from you.
Okay.
And what I say to people is, any mortgage requires you to keep up your property taxes and your homeowner's insurance. Whether it's a forward mortgage, a conventional mortgage, an FHA mortgage, a VA mortgage, doesn't matter. Any mortgage requires certain things. And guess what? If you don't do those things, the mortgage company has the right to foreclose. That's not just with reverse mortgages. So people think that reverse mortgages, if they don't keep up their taxes and insurance, we do have the right to come in and foreclose, but that's with any mortgage.
Got it.
Right? And people don't understand that reverse mortgages are just that. They're a mortgage recorded in the county deed records. We don't own it.
Sure.
We have a security deed recorded in the county deed records. And guess what? So does your traditional mortgage.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So I have to educate people about how that works. That's a big misconception.
Got it.
Yep.
Got it. So if you are paying your taxes, servicing the loan as you should, if you're doing what you're supposed to do, nobody's coming for your house.
Nobody's coming for your house. Absolutely. And people also think that when you die, that your heirs won't inherit the house, and that again is not true.
Sure. Let's go in that direction. Let's talk about what does happen when, let's say, for example, if my grandmother has a reverse mortgage taken out on her home, and I'm listed as one of her heirs in her will, all of that. What happens to that mortgage? What happens to the property? What is my role in all of that? What's the estate's role in all of that? Help us sort through the estate planning kind of aspects of when somebody passes away with a reverse mortgage.
Right. So if, let's say that you have all of your estate plan done, you have your will, or the home is in a trust or whatever, and you're good, and you pass, which all of us will pass.
One day. Yes.
Right? So when you pass, if all of that's in place, then the heirs do get the property, right? After they probated the will or wherever, they do get the property. But the loan is due a year after that person passes or no longer occupies the home.
Okay.
Okay? It's due.
Yes.
So those heirs are responsible for paying that loan off. Now,
Okay.
they can do that by selling it, which is typically what happens.
Sure.
They can do it by refinancing it. If there's one of those heirs that wants to live in it and they are old enough to do a reverse mortgage, they could do a reverse mortgage in their own name if the
Sure.
numbers work.
Got it.
They could use life insurance proceeds or other resources to pay it off. But honestly, I have this conversation with my clients all the time. They say, well, we want, Johnny and Mary to have the house. And I always say, have you talked to Johnny and Mary?
Yes.
Do they want the house?
Do they want the house?
Only 1 in 200 kids who inherit a house actually keep it because the kids want the money,
Sure.
not the house. And I see it all the time. So I always have to have the come to Jesus meeting with the client and say, have you talked to them?
Right.
Is that what they want?
Sure.
Because often they want the money.
I could see that.
Right.
I could understand that. So it might be wise, it might behoove people if they do. So let's say, you have a client and they want to be able to pass on the home or pass on, they want to be able, okay, let me get my thoughts together. They want to be able to pass on the home in such a way that the burden of paying off the reverse mortgage is not on their children or grandchildren, would it then behoove them to have enough life insurance in place to cover that, or how would that work? Or do we just make a plan assuming that they're going to sell the home? Talk us through some of those options.
Well, I have 3 children. And so we put in our will that the house will be sold. They will inherit it.
Okay.
But we have already made that decision for them.
Okay.
We want the house to be sold, because how do you divide a house amongst 3 kids?
Right.
You can't, but you can divide money all day long.
You sure can.
Right, so you can put what you want. But if you have, say, a legacy home, it's been in the family for years, then I always want to say, do you want to put any kind of mortgage on it? Reverse or otherwise? Because if you want to pass that house on to the next generation, free and clear, what are your provisions for doing that? Like, you can either pass it on free and clear, doesn't have a mortgage on it, or make plans with a life insurance policy or other things for them to be able to pay it off if you truly want them to have it free and clear.
Got it.
Right?
Got it.
So.
Okay. How does this, so we've talked before over email in preparation for today, and I shared with you that most of the audience kind of in my space are largely millennials, some Gen Y, largely like working professionals, largely female. We have maybe older parents and grandparents. How does this conversation, what should we be taking from this conversation? How can we maybe help parents, grandparents, whatever, from this conversation? Because we're not even in an age where we would even qualify for reverse mortgage if we wanted one. So, where do we fit in?
Yeah, so where you fit in is that you're probably, if you're talking to millennials, and some a little older, some a little younger, probably educated. You're the family geniuses of the family.
I like that.
Right?
I'll take that title.
Right? If people sacrifice to send you to college.
Yeah.
Maybe grandma didn't go to college. Maybe mama didn't even go to college. But you did. And so when something comes up, they're looking to you. Do you have answers? Right? You're the family genius, right? And a lot of my referrals come from kids and grandkids of mothers and grandmothers and fathers and grandfathers. A lot of them come, can you help my grandmother? Can you help my mother? And guess what? Who they come from? They come from the females of the family.
Yeah.
Because it's the females who are a part of that sandwich generation, raising kids on one hand,
right,
taking care of grandparents or parents on the other hand. And so much so that they call it daughter care. It's the daughters.
Daughter care.
It's the daughters who do that care, often to their own demise, because they take off from work. Sometimes they cut back from their careers because you only get 24 hours in a day.
That's
you only
truth.
Get that, right? And so
like it or not,
you end up being the one that is paying out of pocket, taking time off of work, stressed out of nowhere because you're trying to get it all done. And so it's important for you, too young for reverse mortgage, but the family genius and the family caregiver.
That's a really, really good perspective. That's a really powerful perspective too, because a lot of us are in positions where, like you said, we're sandwiched right in between of either caring for children of our own, or we're the family auntie, the favorite aunt, or whatever it is, caring for a lot of younger folks, but also kind of in that place where we are, not to say reparenting our parents, but taking care of our parents and grandparents.
Absolutely.
And just to know that this is available as an option, as a way of helping them out is powerful. What do you tell folks? So when you're in a client meeting and people are asking questions, what are how do you help somebody weigh through the pros and cons of a reverse mortgage? What are some of the maybe disadvantages that somebody needs to be aware of?
Yes. So when I'm in a client meeting, often I like to be face-to-face with my clients. And I like to have all family members and trusted advisors with me if possible. I like to sit around the table and have a conversation. So it's not a presentation, it's a conversation.
That's great.
Right? Trying to figure out what they're trying to accomplish, what other assets they have. Do they have an attorney? Do they have an estate plan? Do they have a financial planner? Do they have a CPA? Who needs to be there? And being able to talk about the whole situation. Because housing wealth, which is the money that has grown, the equity that's in their house, is just one part of the equation. And I understand that. And so sometimes you need to have other professionals there.
Yes.
The downside would be, one, if it's a legacy home. Okay, if it's a legacy home, but you don't have any other assets, do we use this asset to help grandma stay in her house? Right? And so making those decisions, those are hard decisions, often personal decisions, but you have to have all the information.
Yeah.
The other thing is it's a more expensive option. So the money is expensive, but it's only expensive if you're going to do it short term.
Okay.
Right? So if the goal is to keep grandma in her house and grandma's 70 and she has the longevity gene, will probably live to be 100,
yes,
right? Then that money that we are lending out over 30 years, it gets less and less expensive per year the longer they're there, right? Or is this house appropriate? Like I see, it's got 2 stories and they got and you got an attic too. Like, right? Can she get up those stairs?
Right.
Or maybe she can get up the stairs now, but will she be able to in 10 or 15 years?
That's a great question to ask.
Right? So asking those kinds of questions. Who's around to take care of her? Right? So I like to have family consultations with as many people that have a vested interest in the care and ongoing well-being of that client. And we talk about what's available and the downsides of what it will cost, what their plan long-term is. But the biggest disadvantage, honestly, is lack of knowledge.
Yes.
It's hard to make good decisions without good information.
That's so true.
Right.
Yeah, I see that. I'm also in finance, obviously, but in a different lane.
Right.
And one of the first things I always do with my clients, my onboarding coaching clients, is I say, we just need to get organized. We need to just figure out where all your money is, what it's doing, how's it going, what's in your 401k. Most people have no idea. How much, how much is in your savings account? Oh, well, let me open it up real quick. What? So just getting organized, laying your whole, it's really powerful to sit down with somebody like you or like me and just to see your whole financial picture in one place. And with all, like you said, all the key players and all the people with vested interest in one room, or a lot of times in my case, over one Zoom meeting. Right. Whatever it is. I'm thankful for the technology that allows us to do that. But yeah, just laying it all out in one place is so powerful. And let me just say one other thing, just to kind of brag on you for a second. But it is a lot of what we see in the financial services industry is this intimidation factor that a lot of financial service professionals kind of give off to clients. So I really appreciate the fact that you bring people in for a conversation, and it's not you trying to shove a product at them. It is, let me educate you on what this is. Let me get a full picture, a full view of what's going on in your life, all the moving parts. Let me educate you about the pros and the cons, and let me just be involved in helping you make this major life decision together with all the people who you care about and who care about you. That's really powerful, and that's the way that financial services should be done. So
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. And you're right. If you ever go into the office of some of these big firms, even the furniture is intimidating.
Yes.
Like I'm intimidated, right, to go in to see them. So often I go to my clients' homes.
Oh, that's cool.
I go straight to them, and I have my attorneys go to them. When we're closing, we go to them.
That's cool.
Because where they're going to feel most comfortable.
Right.
In their homes, right? So we go to them, and we come into their home, and as a guest. And as a guest, we're there to serve them. So it's also the way we approach it. We see them as somebody who needs to be respected.
Yeah.
And maybe they don't speak the language you speak, but it's our job to make all that jargon that we use understandable.
Yes.
That's my job. And if I walk away and they don't understand it, I've failed, not them.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So
that's cool. That's cool. we're going to start wrapping up here. This has been such a great conversation. And again, I appreciate your time and your willingness to educate me and my audience on this. Is there anything else, just kind of final thoughts on what reverse mortgages are, what you do, what you provide for folks? Final thoughts. You have the floor.
Final thoughts are open your mind to a variety of things. Open your mind to be curious and open to learning. The way we handled our finances back in the 30s and 40s, right after the Depression, we're in a different time now. People are living longer, saving less. There's all kinds of different products that weren't there now. Equity has grown, especially I live in the city. We see gentrification happening and people being put out of their house simply because they can't afford taxes. We're dealing with a lot of issues, and they're different than they were in the 30s and 40s. So we have to be open to different solutions, and it starts with just educating yourself.
I love that.
So I just encourage people, be curious, ask questions, no questions too dumb, and be open to just, look at your options and take care of yourself.
I love that. Last question, maybe last two questions. Is there anybody in your world, in the financial services or otherwise, a business, a service provider who you'd like to show some appreciation to today?
Yes. So it is an organization. I was just talking to that young man we were talking to earlier.
Yeah.
The Impact Movement is a movement of Black college students. It's a ministry to Black college students all across the country. And they take ministry beyond just church and spiritual things. They try to apply that spirituality to every area of their life, economic, what they major in. So the encouragement is, if you're going to be a doctor, be a doctor that treats people well and treats them with integrity. If you're going to be in financial services, be honest with people. So that ministry is doing great work.
It's awesome.
And there's no other ministry like it to Black college students who are our talented 10th, right?
That's awesome. So. Yeah, very cool. And I'll be sure to make sure to get information about that from you, so I can link that up in the show notes and people can find the Impact Movement.
Yep.
Awesome. Genie McGee, this has been such a great conversation. And congratulations, by the way. I saw you as the Woman Crush Wednesday from the Black Chamber of Commerce here in Atlanta. I opened my email and there was your face. So congratulations on that recognition.
Thank you, Kim.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. This is amazing. Thank you, Genie, again for your time, and we will link up all of your information. Before we go, tell people how they can connect with you if they have more questions about reverse mortgages. How can they contact you?
So they can call me. I am at 404-388-1885. I work for Fairway Independent Mortgage. And so they can email me, Genie, Genie, dot McGee, MCGEE, at fairwaymc.com. They can go to my website. I'm sure you'll link that and everything, or Facebook or LinkedIn and all kinds of ways.
We'll get all the links. We'll get all the links to Genie in the show notes. So if anybody's looking to connect with her, if you have a parent you need to ask for help with, or grandparent, or you yourself are looking to do the research on a reverse mortgage, give Genie a call. Contact her. All right, this has been great, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Kim. Right. Appreciate it.
Thanks again, Genie, for your time and for really having the heart of an educator. That is always something I look for and love about people in the financial services field, when I can find somebody who's doing great work, who's truly an expert. I mean, you can tell she knows this product in and out, but she truly has the heart of a teacher. And so I appreciate that about Genie, and it's been really pleasant getting to know her as well. So speaking of, this podcast is available on iTunes, or Apple Podcasts actually is what it would be called on your phone. So Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, and Stitcher. So if you have a way that you'd like to listen to the show and keep up with the show, be sure to head to one of those areas to like and subscribe so that new episodes will come directly to you. Head to the website as well, themoneyfreedommovement.com, to subscribe to the email list and just check out the resources there. I'm building out an online training center where you'll be able to have all of my resources kind of in one place. All the guides, the PDFs, videos, online courses, all in the works and coming up soon. So be sure to head to themoneyfreedommovement.com and hop on the email list so that you're the first to know when all these new resources are rolling out, including webinars. I'm going to start doing webinars in March, so a chance for you to interact with the material live that I'll be teaching about. So hop on the email list or follow me on social media at KimWren2009 on Instagram and LinkedIn, so that you are, like I said, the first to know when those webinars roll out and other resources roll out. All right, this has been fun. Until next time, be relentless in the pursuit of your freedom. Take care, y'all.